Happy Friday, Miami. This is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, a real estate podcast of what's going on in the South Florida real estate market. I'm Peter Zalewski. I'm a condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. I'm joined here by my partner, my co-host, the moderator, Daniel Hernandez over at Compass Real Estate in Coconut Grove. He does single-family houses as well as condos. Next time you're in the Grove, look up Daniel. He's right over there by Monty.
Right on top. Best office building, best location for an office building in all of Coconut Grove, if I may say. A lot of new folks moving in here. I just saw some big tech company just signed a 10,000 plus square foot lease in Coconut Grove. I don't know where all these people are going, but they are paying top dollar for it. I mean, I guess if you're buying a $5 million house in Coconut Grove, you don't want to commute to Brickell. You want to be in the Grove, right?
Exactly. They're all figuring out. They want to be close to Casola's. They want to be close to Flanagan's. They want to go there for the
Miami Slice. Harry's is out. Miami Slice is moving in.
Yeah, but how long is that queue going to be? If anybody doesn't know, Miami Slice is the place that's located over in the close to what would have been Overtown. They leased out a space at the bottom of a rental building. Every single time they open, the queue is around the corner. Everybody's waiting in there. They're begging. Could you think Soup Nazi from Seinfeld 20 years ago?
But with pepperonis.
All
beef pepperoni. You got to know your market.
Not on Friday. Not if you were celebrating Good Friday. So anybody out there?
It's Easter weekend, of course. Happy Easter, Peter. Do you say Happy Easter?
Happy Easter, and we also have Passover. Don't forget that.
It's this week,
So
Holy Week.
Very religious time of the year right now in South Florida, as well as the world.
Well, everybody, welcome to Buy, Sell, Hold Miami. If you're just joining us for the first time today, whether you're on Substack, whether you're on YouTube, we're on Instagram now, Peter. We can stream directly to Instagram now. So if wherever you're watching us, if you look at the bottom left of your screen, if you're on one of the horizontal platforms, and if you're on the vertical platform, then you're just going to have to listen along. But that's the rundown. So every week, Peter and I read the news, we throw some stories back and forth, and we land on these 5 stories. And so this week, we have so much material for you because there's so much going on. Well, there's always something going on here in Miami. And at the end of each topic, we either buy because we agree, we sell because we disagree, or we hold because, well, we don't know. We're just going to sit back and eat our popcorn. And this week, Peter, we got some naming rights are going down this week. We don't live in Palm Beach, and Palm Beach is just up and around that way. But on March 30th, Peter, so few days ago, Governor Ron DeSantis up there in Tallahassee signed legislation renaming Palm Beach International Airport to the President Donald J. Trump International Airport, effective right now, I think pending FAA approval. So the airport's just right next to Mar-a-Lago. So it's basically like his own little private commercial airport. So the name change is expected to cost Palm Beach County approximately $2.7 million because, they got to change the sign, they got to change the phone systems. But they made it very clear that the community is not paying a VIG to the DJT organization. I don't know how that's going to play out, but that's what they're saying. And then other Trump naming is we're going back to the Miami-Dade College site down there in downtown. Peter, do you see they released the renderings for the building? Big building with TRUMP right there on top with flags and star-spangled banners, the whole jazz. It's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. Epic. And the best part about it, Peter, they paid $10 for it.
$10. I'll tell you what, my first glance at that rendering, remember everybody, this is the site we were talking about back in September. This is the site that they had to pass twice because the first time they didn't notify everybody, in fact, that the Miami-Dade College was going to take this valuable piece of dirt that we value north of $360 million and give it over to President Donald Trump so that he could put up a library. It was back in September. We had a professor.
That's a big library. There's a lot of books are going to go in there. I mean, I know dirt's expensive here, but I think this is the first time that a presidential library has gone vertical in this sense. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there.
It is going vertical, and they can basically build to the moon, if you will, if you look at that particular site. That project is supposed to be a library only, but the first rendering says, probably going to have a hotel in there as well. Imagine that. And you know what? If you got a hotel, you can also have a condo. And if you were to sell condos in that market, you're looking probably close to, well, depending on how the market goes, about $1.8 million a door.
What can you do zoning by right there?
Yeah, it's on be because of its location in and around all of the public transportation. No parking requirement. 40 grand a parking spot. 2,500 units you can put up to figure out the parking. Whatever the parking is it? Well, I should say it's 1.5 times 2,500 units. That's all the savings. So if he wanted to change the renderings, he could have a $5 billion project with a little library tucked in the side.
Wow. And a 747 in the lobby per the rendering.
And yeah, why not? Go ahead, bring it in. But Daniel, I'll tell you, the first rendering I saw of this particular building, and if anybody hasn't seen it, they can go on Instagram and they can check it out. First rendering I saw, you know what it reminded me of?
Tell me.
It reminded me of Manny Medina's Folly. And what do I mean by that? And who's Manny Medina? Manny Medina is the guy who does Emerge America. This is the guy that basically built a network access point of the Americas. Last condo project he put up before he pivoted away from condos and went into IT and ultimately sold to Verizon for north of $1 billion. That fortress that's located at Miami World Center. He built a project called the Millennium Tower. It's also known to many on Brickell Avenue as the Four Seasons. It was a disaster. It was built for New Yorkers. They tried to put it in Miami. It did not work. It took them a decade to sell it all the units. So looking at this design, this is the typical out-of-towner coming in here, trying to just plop something in and thinking locals are going to embrace it because of maybe the branding. They tried it with the Four Seasons, disaster. Manny pivots. He goes into IT and he does the network access point of the Americas. Let's see how this one sort of plays out. But first glance, not impressed. Does not work with the local neighborhood. Does not work with the local vibe. We'll see who's right. But you know me, I'm always on the opposite side of the trade.
Hey, they're delivering, they're closing on the 11 towers. Who would have thought 10 years ago that you could have a, what do we call it? A cabaret themed condominium building.
Don't call it a strip joint. Do not call it a strip joint. When they first announced it, I was calling it a strip joint and they got very annoyed. So it is a cabaret. It is not a strip joint.
Bar. It's a bar.
Yeah, it's a bar. $100 cover from what I hear to get it.
They got the Margaritaville condos, right? Up there in Broward. There you go.
You know, speaking of the 11, the owner of 11, which is the cabaret, don't call it a strip joint. The owner of the 11, he was on Instagram talking about how he's 100% sold out. He's got 1,000 units going up on one block, 250 something story towers. He says it's 100% sold out. What I would tell him, because he hasn't built down here before, is let's see what happens when you get over the finish line. Let's see how many people actually show up. Let's see how many people try to get out. Let's see if you can actually run everybody down, get them to the finishing line, make them sign, and more importantly, fund the units. Then we'll talk about if it's 100% sold out or not.
And then, condo defect litigation, that's probably not going to happen. Never happen.
No, it could never happen. Yeah, it's just, it's
okay.
very unique. It's like a unicorn.
Let's think into the future. So they're supposed to break ground on this Trump library by 2030 or 2031 or else. And the or else is very vague because it doesn't, there's no language that says it would revert back to the state or revert back to the college. You'll just kick the can if they don't break ground. But what if they do break ground and they build it and there are condo defects? What do? You sue the former president's organization? I mean, just play that out. What does that look like?
Well, yeah, that's going to be a very, and where do you sue him? You sue him, I guess, I guess it'd be, so what, state court, or could it go into?
No, it's a Florida development, of course. It's Florida. No,
but how is it marketed? I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I'm not trying to play an attorney either on a podcast or on TV. I don't really know how that would play out. I don't know how long it would take to construct. I don't even know if they are going to construct. And remember, in terms of breaking ground, a lot of people like to move dirt in order to take advantage of maybe some sort of.
But Tallahassee has removed a lot of the powers, and especially in local zoning, they've removed every barrier they can that the city or the county would throw in front of them to keep this building from being built. I mean, well, heck, look, if they want something to get built, look what they've done at the Freedom Park. That thing went up so freaking fast. They're going to play a soccer match there tomorrow. No?
Tomorrow. Well, but the only thing I would say is, yeah, maybe you're not going to jam them up on the planning and zoning. But however, there's a boy who lives in Austin, Texas. He was building a lot of electronic cars. You know what he's doing now? He's pivoting into robots. because car sales have gone down and they continue to fall. So you listen, one thing.
If gas prices continue to go up, I think I think he might have gotten out of the EV game a little early.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only thing I'm saying is there's a governmental process, and then there's the market. Let's see how the market plays out. But yeah, listen, I wish him luck going ahead. And if you're going to go ahead, you're going to build something massive. I hope it goes spectacularly. But I want to sit back and I want to watch and see exactly how this plays out. But Daniel, let me talk to you about this airport, this newly renamed airport, which you're going to be able to.
I've never been there. I don't know anything about it other than what I've been reading about in the news for the past several months when they were negotiating this name change. Tell me about it.
Well, I mean, if you look at the airports, Miami International Airport is obviously the 800-pound gorilla. Then you're going to have Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale, I think it's got 2 runways. I don't know how many runways are in Palm Beach International. Probably 1, maybe it's 2. But
take a look at it.
Yeah, really what it is it's a third rung down. It is the diversion airport or maybe the diversion airport. It's not really in that active of an airport. It's got relatively limited types of a service going to and from. But what's sort of interesting about that is they go ahead and they change the name of that. They've also changed Southern Boulevard, which is the road that will take you effectively into Mar-a-Lago, which is located on Palm Beach Island, right across the little bridge from downtown West Palm Beach. So we got the airport, we got the street. The only problem we got is they just did a special election and they just elected.
The Democratic guy won in the Mar-a-Lago district. No, the special election.
I think it was a woman. Yeah. So a Republican basically. I don't know how they left office. If they left office and they did a special election in order to replace that position, and a Democrat won. So, I don't know how it goes, but there is a rule typically that says you don't name anything after anybody until once they've passed. And the reason is in Miami, we've named a bunch of streets after people. And lo and behold, after the fact, we come to realize we might not have done the right thing in jumping the gun and trying to recognize people while they're still walking.
No, it's just now. We're a hype town. You gotta take advantage while it's hot, right?
I guess you got to take advantage of while it's hot. I mean, I love to go through downtown Miami because there's a road named after a banker that went to jail, and it's still laying there. So every time I get off, I always sort of point to that. And that basically is our history, Daniel. Why do people come to South Florida? They come for love. They come for a job, or they're running from the law. It's always one of the 3. Sometimes it's all 3.
Buy, sell, hold, trumps.
I would probably be a buy. And let me give you some logic on it. I think if done correctly, this could almost be like the Grand Ole Opry or Dollyland. Dolly Parton's got a park. It could be, this could be like a tourist shtick, tchotchke type of place. Everybody who's all in, maybe think of Graceland up in Memphis. You're a big Elvis fan. You get everybody rolling out there. Think about it. You could have go to the restaurants, people dressed up like the president with the hair and doing all that type of stuff. It could actually be a lot of fun. It could be a shtick. We are the state of themes. We got Disney World with the mouse. If you remember the old Sunny Isles Beach before it became Billionaires Row, it was all these schlocky hotels with different themes that were peddling product to the working stiffs. So maybe they take, because Sunny Isles Beach has gone Billionaires Row now, maybe they take all that same crowd, working class stiff, blue collar like myself, and they drive them to a different area. And who knows, maybe this is the new magnet. Maybe, I come from Chicago. Up in Chicago, they got a place called Wisconsin Dells. People would go up there. Who knows? Maybe this is the new one. You can get all you want to get about the president. You go
do the pilgrimage
in Palm Beach County. Yeah. But so then the question becomes, why is the library in Miami? Why isn't it located in West Palm Beach? Does Stephen Ross have too much land he doesn't want to share? Does Jeff Green have too much dirt he doesn't want to share? You got plenty
because Miami's hot. Because you can't sell a condo for $2 million in Palm Beach.
Why not, though? This is what it can do. You got Vanderbilt University. You got Stephen Ross. You got Jeff Green, who made money shorting the downturn of the Great Recession. Put it all and concentrate in one place. Just go crazy with it. You can sell T-shirts. You got magnets. You got all kinds of stuff. It's, location. I don't understand the logic here in terms of putting a library in Miami when in reality, it ought to be in, the Mecca of Donald Trump, which is effectively, we got the library, we got the road, we got the Mar-a-Lago. Just concentrate it all. And, when do companies go bad? When they get outside of their lane. It's all there. It's concentrated. Run with it.
Yeah, but the economics sure do work when you get the land for so cheap. It's not like you have to spend $350 million for it.
Well, maybe you can sublet the land. I mean, is there anything that says you can't give like
a lease it back to MDC, obviously.
Yeah, why not? Jack up the tuition a little bit. Let the students go there.
So you're buying this. I'm going to hold because
I'm buying the theme. The idea that we could sell magnets, we could have tchotchkes, we could have all this type of stuff with that Trump name all over it. And I think it'd be perfect. We fly into the airport. You could have a visit, a tour to Mar-a-Lago. I do tours. Maybe I'll do a walking tour, walk people past there. We can just wander around the corner. There's an infamous location. Yeah. It'd be a grand old time.
I'm going to hold because it's all happened very, very fast. I don't know if you remember this wasn't even on anybody's radar before September. Actually, even in September, it wasn't anybody's radar because the college didn't announce that they were going to transfer the land over. So Marvin Dunn, our activist octogenarian, took him to court. I think that the Judge Mabel Ruiz, still has a court date set because Miami-Dade College was very naughty in not letting the community know about it. Now, I don't think that court date will stop the land transfer, but it will, if not for nothing else, send a naughtygram to Miami-Dade College that, hey, you guys were in violation of Sunshine Law, which they very clearly were. They went back and they voted again. They did that in Hialeah, off in Casa Carajo, but they did transfer it over to the Trump Library Foundation, and this supposedly is going to be the result. But everybody, listen, we see renderings of buildings all the time. You know, there are planned buildings, there are proposed buildings, there are buildings under construction. And sometimes even once they go into construction, they still get foreclosed upon. So this is very, very, very early. And it's just a rendering. There's a lot of moving parts here. And I'm holding. I'm just going to see and wait what happens.
I want a T-shirt with it. I want with the airport. I want some sort of tree. By the way, what are the initials going to be?
DJT. No, DJT.
So DJT will be
from PBI to DJT.
Interesting. That's not bad. I like that. You get a DJT. Hey. Listen, why don't we set up a website? Why don't we start hawking some T-shirts, some magnets, all kinds of stuff?
I think we're behind, dude. There's an AI that's already got that going.
Put the airport in there, DJTA for the airport. No, can't we do that?
No, you'd have to sign it over to the organization for $10.
Okay.
All right. Coral Gables, and everybody's going to laugh because I'm such a Coral Gables advocate. I love the Gables. I live near the Gables. The Gables is great, but Coral Gables has a PR problem, Peter. So much so that they had to do a Q&A with the Chamber of Commerce and the Miami Herald this week, because if you walk down Miracle Mile, which is that span of Coral Way as it terminates over there at Coral Gables City Hall, if you walk down that strip on a weeknight, the only restaurant that has anybody in it, the only storefront, is Hillstone. It's sleepy. And to think that a place with a central business district like Coral Gables, there's so much money in Coral Gables, it makes you wonder, hey, why isn't there more commercial happenings going on? Where are all the awesome restaurants? Where's all the great retail? I don't know if you remember many, many years ago, but that was like a very high concentration of bridal shops. I mean, what a snooze fest. Coral Gables needs to be vibrant and hip hop and happening. And they did a nice job pedestrianizing Giralda, and there's some restaurants there. But Miracle Mile, which is large and abound, the main street of Coral Gables, to have a corporate chain restaurant that is basically, let's be real, a Cheesecake Factory with some lipstick on it, to be the spot to be seen. I mean, it's tough. So Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce does this Q&A with the Miami Herald saying, oh, we need to attract more businesses here. Well, my response to that is, A, you got to lower the rents. And B, then this is the PR problem. You ask anybody in town, whether this is true or not, but if you ask anybody in town, I'll take it a step further. Well, Peter doesn't drive, but why do people buy Volvos, Peter? What is Volvo known for?
Safety.
Safety. You know that. It's safe. It's a safe car. Well, Coral Gables, if you go to any developer or contractor in town, they're going to tell you, whether it's right or wrong, Coral Gables is a pain in the ass to deal with the city. And that is a press problem. And they need to overcome that either by, being less of a pain in the ass, or well, doing stuff like this with the Herald and bringing people together to make them realize that, hey, look, we just want to build a central business district here. And you don't have to bribe us, or maybe you do. Shit, look what they did with the plaza. Wasn't that supposed to be like a third of the size that it is today? But they did it. Now, why can't they do that with Miracle Mile, Pete?
Well, I think there's a bigger underlying theme to all of this. If you guys remember back in the early 2000s, the problem that Coral Gables had is it was old. It's an old demographic. Everybody all these fat cats living in these spreads, these houses in and around, remind me the name of the swimming pool, Venetian swimming pool. These
Sure.
are all families that have been there quite some time. The price points are high. A lot of companies, typically the CEO or whoever's running the satellite office for a global company, their office is out in Doral or it's maybe in Blue Lagoon, and then they all want to be located somewhere close so they can get to the airport if they got to fly out. So the Gables is always a popular place. So it had a demographic problem for a long time. And then what happened, early 2000s, they started building. They put up a project. There's a rental that ultimately got converted into a condo called the 10 Aragon. That came up. There was a fight going on between two mayors. Do we want younger people? Do we not want younger people? Some of them wanted to keep it the way it was. Some people didn't. And you had this brawl go on. Lo and behold, we catch fire. We go forward. There was a lot of momentum. And now I think what's going on, because of the pricing problem, because of the fact that a lot of these other generations, they're not boozing. They're not going out to pick up the opposite sex or the same sex or whatever sex they're into. Because of that, I don't think you're getting the same traffic. And then throw in there some large groups that came in, they bought the dirt, they bought the space, they jacked up the rents because they paid too much, and you lost essentials, Daniel. Let me tell you the essential they lost. They lost Navarro. There was a Navarro located right
there on Coral Way by Tarpon
yeah.
Bend. Wasn't there a Tarpon Bend there on the corner too?
Yeah, there was a Tarpon Bend. They jacked the rent up on Tarpon Bend. They brought in a place called Grammarly or something where they had a big ladies pump with a red undertone or red bottom. To that, all the influencers would come to take pictures. Problem is that drinks were $30 a drink. Everybody stopped going. So basically, they priced themselves out for the crowd that they need, which is going to bring the energy, which is going to be the vibe, which is going to do the influencing. Now it's reverted back to what it is, and it's all old people.
Is Miracle Mile going to have like a Lincoln Road moment? We've been talking about Lincoln Road for the last few weeks on the show. How are commercial landlords just going to have to sort of take a write down on what they expected in terms of their cap rates? Because I see for lease. And then anytime something opens up, it lasts half an hour.
Think of it as a canary in the coal mine. Think of it at the Big Mac index factor, like you have in The Economist. The Gables is basically showing what's going on with the younger people. The older people who bought a while ago, they're kicking back. They're loving it. They don't want the noise. Get off my lawn. But the younger people, if they're coming in, they're like, yeah, I don't necessarily know if I can afford this. Oh, if I come here, what am I going to get? I can't even go to Navarro. I got to go in Cayocho and Ponce. I got to go through all that traffic. I can't walk. I don't have a car, as everybody knows, and I'm very proud about it. I haven't had one since 2013. I like to go to places where I can walk. Now juxtapose the Gables with the Grove. Coconut Grove, what did they do? They built this stackable big box right over there by the Metro Rail station, the Coconut Grove station. I can hit a Chipotle, a Sprouts, a Target. You even got booze, although I don't know how good the booze place is doing because nobody's drinking anymore. But I'm just saying the Gables has worked against itself. It used to have an Einstein's. There was like a Starbucks where it was cheap. It was this and that. Good luck finding that. There used to be a Burger King. Burger King got replaced by a Peruvian place. You go in there for a drink, it's $30. Hillstone, the famous hangout place, which is located right there at Ponce and Miracle Mile. Well, they used to be a Payless shoe store. And now it's a high end. And Hillstone's good, don't get me wrong. The only bastion of hope that you have in the Gables, I would tell you, is the bar. The bar is this little dive place. You go in there, you get a cheap drink. Yeah, but everything else, you got Sweet Greens. Listen, I like salad. I eat a lot of salad. You can't get out of that place for $20.
Don't lie to the
greens and
gang.
veggies.
Don't
Come
lie
on.
to the gang. Salad. Get out of here, Peter.
I eat a salad every night. What about La Sandwicherie? Even that place is a little bit high on the price.
You know, I think they're out.
Oh, they're gone.
I tried to get it from there the other day, and they weren't open. I love how you go on Google Maps now, and everything just says temporarily closed now, which is the new. You know, you have a soft opening. I think it's a soft closing. Like we want to let you off easy. But there are places that on a Thursday it's just closed.